Joining us now is Rebekah Lipsky, and we're going to be talking about mental health, and especially in the transition periods. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing really well. Sitting across from you, I realized that I think I've reinvented myself at least 5 times.
It's okay.
Talk about transitions, right?
See, all the time.
Transitions. I never thought I was actually physically going to live this long. You know, my mom had passed away from breast cancer at a young age, and I always thought that if I lived past 40, I was going to be lucky, right? And now I've lived much longer than my mom. And every time I say to myself, I'm like, okay, I've accomplished that. What's next? What type of transitioning do you help people navigate through as a clinical person yourself?
Sure. First, I just want to say I'm so sorry for your loss.
Oh, that's very kind of you. Thank you.
I mean, that's one of them. I always like to say that throughout our life, we meet so many different versions of ourselves and also the life that we're living. And whether it's unforeseen circumstances like the loss of a loved one or getting diagnosed with a chronic health condition or things that we initiate, whether it's a move, a job change, a breakup, so on and so forth, it's really hard. And I can speak from personal experience. It's really hard just because you're about to step into a new version of life that you know nothing or very little about, and you're kind of blindly putting one step in front of the other toward this new path. And so really trying to support people with taking it one step at a time, validating the feelings that they're having throughout. I think it can be so easy to kick ourselves and be like, why am I crying again? Or, oh my God, why is my anxiety rising again? And all that's to protect us, but it's super uncomfortable. And I think also because of that discomfort, people can really hinder themselves from trying to get better from whatever that life transition is. And so trying to hold space for people for all these uncomfortable feelings, for the grief, anxiety, stress, depression, anger, anything that they're feeling, and kind of help them have what I call just a better, different relationship with those feelings so that they can continue to navigate through these big life changes. And you can get to the other side.
You can get to the other side. And as a therapist, what you were so kind to share before the camera started rolling is that you yourself have also been through things, so you could be a little more empathetic, correct?
For sure.
Okay.
I will say that I've always been very empathetic, and I've always loved being a therapist. I've been a therapist for about 7 years, but started my practice 2 years ago. But only recently shifted the focus specifically to life transitions. But for a solid, consistent year and a half, I was not doing well. I was going through 3 big transitions at one time, and it only amplified that empathy that I have for my clients. And there are so many days where I'm like, did I seriously just help somebody in those 50 minutes? Did I even speak like while I knew right before I was sobbing before hopping on session? But yeah, it really furthers that empathy of just, I get it, and I know this feels really hard, and I understand that you were in a ball on your bathroom floor crying. Like, I truly, truly get it. And still, you can do it. I always say difficult's not synonymous with impossible.
I like that. Let's say that again, Rebekah. Difficult is not synonymous with impossible. Beautiful. You know, I like when they use the words too, like I am possible, like when they take impossible and it's I am possible. I'm possible.
Yeah, we tell ourselves so much that we can't, and it can feel that way. But we can. It's just hard.
What is something that you consistently will tell each person? What's like a basic level of trust that you can establish with somebody, or a modality, or some tip that just seems to like work? You know, like if I had a cookie and we were putting some icing on it, what is that icing? What's that go-to feel good that you feel can work for someone?
That's such a good question.
Is it like washing your face? Is it like, what can we do?
I mean, I really am constantly promoting the idea of self-compassion, and not just talking about it, but modeling it in session as well. And so basically that's just showing compassion to ourselves and being kind and gentle, and also understanding of what we're going through. So much of my work, I always like to say, is to really try and see each client in the context of their own life. And so if somebody is, I don't know, having a certain inner monologue when they're going through a life change that's berating themselves, or having an immediate particular kind of emotional response to something going on, I given like what we talked about during the intake or other sessions, I'll be like, well, that makes a ton of sense given this thing that you've experienced before and this thing, like our history. I always say we're walking history books. It's following us everywhere. All of our history is along for the ride, even in our new path that we have to walk down. So just the self-compassion and really just validating people throughout so that it kind of models the language that then someone can extend to their self.
Rebekah, I think I want like an editor or like, somebody like a revision. I'll be like, wait, chapter number 3 for me wasn't that great. Can we go and revise that?
Yeah.
But there always is a new day and a new, fresh, clean start, correct?
For sure.
When you're working with people, how do they onboard with you? Are you working with them virtually?
So right now it's all virtually, just again, because of all the transitions. I've moved to 2 different cities in the past year and a half. So right now all virtually. So yeah, I have a website. It's RebekahLipskyCounseling.com, pretty on the nose there. And people can book a free consultation with me just to kind of get a feel of what that rapport could be. If I'm a good fit, are you a good fit? The therapeutic relationship is the most important part of therapy. I always tell people that, which I have not, but if I did write 100 books, spoke around the world, but someone felt judged by me or felt that they couldn't trust me, then none of those accolades matter. So I think the free consultation is really important. And then from there, we can schedule, set up the intake, and come up with a treatment plan, all those kinds of things.
I love that. I know prior to you sitting down, you said that you had watched some of my segments and that you're like you yourself, this was a big step for you because it's the first time you ever did something like that.
Yeah.
You did amazing. I don't know if you counted to 10 before you walked through the door, but whatever you did, it seems like you're really like centered and beautiful and kind. I could just feel
Thank
your
you.
presence come right through you.
Thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
was shaking over there, so I didn't do anything. I just sat and the camera rolled. There we go.
But
Thank
I know
you.
that you, like I said, that compassionate kindness in you is exactly what you're providing when you're helping somebody through therapy. And I can't imagine anybody else wanting anything more than your kind listening ear. So
Thank you. I
thank you for
appreciate
being
that.
here, truly.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I'm glad you came in. Somebody had mentioned you and I said, oh yeah, I think that you would be a wonderful guest. So thank you for that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Stay tuned for more. We've been living it up right here. And please, let's debunk the myth of therapy, like people thinking that therapy is, not for you. It could be for you. Give it a try. Everybody thinks that it's so negative. It's not so negative anymore. Let's get rid of that stigma. If you need help, reach out. Be well.